Welcome to Red Recaps. Hi guys, today we're going to tell you about a 2017 action-adventure film called Okja, directed by Bang Joon. Watch out, relax, and enjoy as we unveil this movie together. Ensure that you stick around until the end. Here we go. After a prologue that takes place during a business presentation in the United States, the film begins in earnest with a young girl from South Korea who goes by the name of Mija and is accompanied by an enormous pet pig who goes by the name of Okja as they travel through the dense forest. This enormous mammal, which is also the main character, has a rounded nose like that of a hippopotamus, leathery skin, a soft pink tummy, and deep-set eyes that are trustworthy. They live in a hilly section of the rainforest with her grandfather, spend most of the day enjoying a laid-back life, roaming the woods, and taking pleasure in the quaint lifestyle in the hills. As a result of their cohabitation and mutual mental and emotional engagement, we get the impression that Okja is an intelligent creature, with heightened sensitivity and emotional connection. On one occasion, the enormous animal puts his own life at risk to rescue Misha's, and the spiritual tie that they have seems to be virtually impossible to rupture. They had no idea that it was controlled by a clock that was always ticking. The huge, friendly pig is the property of a vast food conglomerate in New York City, known as Morando Corporation. Morando Corporation is a major player in the agrochemical sector. After a protracted length of time, lasting 10 years, the company sent a total of 26 genetically modified pigs to different family farms located in different parts of the world, so that they might be reared as part of a long-term marketing initiative a decade earlier. Morando brings the super pigs back to New York once they have reached their full maturity, so that they can be presented in a large celebration that will conclude the mega corporation's rebranding, in a so-called move to revolutionize the meat industry by producing inexpensive, high-quality meat and its products. When they have reached their full maturity, the super pigs are brought back to New York. Lucy Morando, CEO of Loopy, came up with the idea for the initiative after she successfully wrestled control of the family business away from her covetous twin sister, Nancy. The animals will eventually be transferred to a butcher, but the fact that they were treated with kindness up until that point allows people to feel less guilty about eating such adorable creatures. No one understands the unpleasant reality that the future super pigs will not have unrestricted access to the wild. Even though Morando's labs were responsible for the creation of the pigs, the media was led to believe that they were a discovery. One day, officials from Morando knock on the door of Misha and Okja, accompanied by Dr. Johnny Wilco, a biologist and television presenter who, as part of the company's increased efforts in the face of the Super Pig program, declares Okja the super pig that is the healthiest and most beautiful. And he discloses that they're going to transport Okja to New York on the very same day. Mija, who does not speak English, is enticed away by her grandfather as they are carrying Okja away, and he provides her with a pig figurine made of pure gold as a compensating gift, while he reveals the truth to his heartbroken granddaughter. This heartbreaking parting of the charming couple serves as the impetus for a narrative that follows Mija on her search for Okja all the way from New York City to South Korea. Fortunately, a group of extreme environmentalists who are members of the Animal Liberation Front, ALF, are aware of the restrictions, and they can catch Okja in the middle of her voyage in Seoul as part of a conspiracy to reveal the craftiness of the Morando Corporation. Their leader, Jay, communicates with Mija through the use of a translator key, informing her that they intend to expose Morando's brutality and mistreatment of its animals by installing a recording device under Okja's ear, which will provide them with videographic proof of their foul ways. Jay also informs Mija that they plan to install a recording device under Okja's ear. In addition to this, he discloses that the farmers and the Super Pig program were both nothing more than a hoax, and that they were merely a promotional device that was being used to hide the fact that the Super Pigs were in fact genetically mutated pigs that were produced in the millions by the Morando Corporation. He goes on to say that he would go through with the plan if they had Misha's permission, which she immediately denies, but Kay willfully mistranslates and Mija unintentionally becomes a part of the scheme as all ALF members leap from a bridge into the river and flee. As Mija watches in helplessness as Okja is apprehended as part of the damage repair that is necessary as a consequence of the debacle that occurred on the streets of Seoul involving Okja, it has been decided by Richard Morando and the LF Morando to orchestrate a reunion for Okja and Mija to lessen the amount of harm and as an exercise in image maintenance. They had Mija fly over to New York to be part of the greatest super pig crowning. She first resists, but she is ultimately coerced into attending the ritual under the guise that if she doesn't, Okja will soon be turned into food, and she will be responsible for that. Okja is housed in a lab, and there she is subjected to forced breeding with one of the other super pigs, as well as a genetically altered pig. When Dr. Wilco extracts a chunk of flesh from her, which is then processed for tasting by volunteers serving as ALF monitors, and he sees the film, the volunteers are disgusted and frightened by the horrifying sight. However, when Kay admits that he intentionally mistranslated what Jay said earlier that day, an infuriated Jay punches him and kicks him out of the ALF. In an effort to make up for their wrongdoings, Jay infiltrates Mija's room and informs her that they want to show recordings of Okja's torture at the hands of Morando while she is on stage. He also cautions Mija not to look back and urges her to save both herself and Okja. During this time, a blinded and furious Okja, who was injured during the attack that took place the previous evening, is brought on stage. Okja refuses to acknowledge Mija and attacks her as the audience watches carefully. Mija intervenes to prevent Jay from causing Okja any damage as he tries to rescue her by assaulting Okja. The film of Morando's inhumane maltreatment of animals is then displayed by the ALF, and the crowd rapidly goes into a frenzy as the doctor's event quickly goes into a frenzy as they criticize Morando and his techniques, with the truth now being disclosed. In the middle of the subsequent mayhem, Nancy Morando makes her triumphant comeback to take over Lucy's leadership of the organization, and she also makes contact with a private security contractor in order to get the situation under control. Mija and Jay tried to escape with Okja, but were unsuccessful and were rescued by a reformed Kay. However, Okja was recaptured and sent to Morando's labs along with hundreds of other super pigs. Nancy commands that there be full-time slaughterhouse operations for the super pigs, as she plans to sell them and scrap Lucy's program entirely, believing that the public will buy it anyway if it's cheap. Refusing to give up, Jay and Kay take Mija to the farm slaughterhouse, where Okja is scheduled to be killed the same day. Although she consumes meat, Mija is appalled by the terrible conditions in which animals are held and handled before being killed by machines by the hundreds every hour. Some of the scenes inside are very upsetting, such as blood pools being wiped across the floor, 7 severed heads of super pigs, and a huge number of mangled body parts lying throughout. In an effort to appeal to his compassion, Mija finds Okja just in time as he is being brought up a ramp for slaughter, and she gives the Morando employer a photo from her childhood showing infant Okja in an effort to appeal to his compassion. Okja survives the killing. When Nancy appears, she gives the command to continue with the killing. At the same moment, when Mija presents her with the solid gold pig that was passed down to her from her grandpa in payment for Okja's life, she makes the decision to spare Okja's life. In a scenario that is truly all kinds of awful, she witnesses hundreds of other super pigs being prepared for slaughter, without the hope of escape as they go out the door. While this is taking place, 2 of the super pigs are able to hurl their offspring over the electric fence to be cared for by Mija and Okja. Okja takes the infant and places it in its mouth, and the 3 animals are then able to flee. After the movie, Mija travels back to the hills of the Korean countryside, where she lives with her grandpa, Okja, and a new piglet. After being freed from jail, Jay boards a bus with Kay, the other members of the ALF, and some new recruits, as the organization prepares to disrupt a large meeting of all of the company's stockholders. What do you think about this movie? Leave a comment down below and let us know what you think about the movie. If you're intrigued by this movie, you can watch it by clicking on the links below. And also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notifications bell for more of our videos. Thanks for watching Red Recaps. See you in the next video.